Well, isn't this just the most brilliant idea ever, eh? Let's begin. We're not robots and we can't work till we drop, right? Well, the centre of social justice must think they're all secretly Superman, ready to don our capes and work to the ripe old age of, wait for it, 75. So here's the thing, the CSJ believes that the UK's financial woes can be solved by making us all toil away until we're 3/4 of a century old. So what's their reasoning for this brilliant idea? Well, the ageing population and the old age dependency ratio, the OADF, are giving them sleepless nights about the UK's long-term fiscal sustainability. Seriously, folks, it's like saying that we should all become tightrope walkers because there's a shortage of clowns in the circus. So if that is the case, then to be honest, I think they should get their clowns from Parliament, because let's face it, there's plenty of work there, isn't there? But Sir Ian Duncan Smith's brainchild, the CSJ, not only suggested raising the retirement age to 75, but also wants us to hit 70 by 2028. It's like believing in a magical fountain of youth hiding in the office photocopier, isn't it? And apparently all of this is justified because we're living longer. Of course, back in the day when they introduced the pension, the average life expectancy was around 50, but now it's supposedly shot up to about 81. And I don't know about you, but I'm not sure I want my retirement party held in the office staff room where the coffee machine doubles as a DJ booth. But the thing is that the government has already told us in their infinite wisdom that they've already raised the retirement age to 68 in 2017 to ensure sustainability. So I'm guessing they must think, why don't we just crank up the age? Maybe, who knows, there's some sort of bonus round where you can gain extra pension if you reach 80 but still are in the workforce. But to be honest, that's some dystopian game show that I'd love to avoid. Let's just address the elephant in the room, shall we? Or should I actually say robot? Because in a world where automation is already taken over, jobs are disappearing faster than the magician's rabbit, it's a bit of a head scratcher to expect us to work longer. I mean, there might not even be jobs available, especially since many tasks are either becoming automated or no longer required. And the CSJ's solution to this seems to be the equivalent of suggesting that we all become professional jugglers because there's no demand for accountants anymore. But let's just not forget the growing population as well, which, let's face it, quite a lot of it is beyond our control, eh, government? I mean, more people, longer working lives, this equation doesn't really add up, does it? And surely at this rate we'll probably all end up working until we drop, if you know what I mean. But anyway, the article says that Professor Martin McKee told The Guardian the rise also saw an increase in the variation in life expectancy between different social groups. One reason why the overall increase in life expectancy has been so sluggish in the UK is that in recent years it has fallen for poorer groups. While politicians invoke global factors, especially the effects of the pandemic and the invasion of Ukraine, the reality is that, as in the 1950s, the country suffers from major structural and institutional weaknesses. And Dr. Lucinda Haim added, a relative worsening of population health is evident that we are all not well. It has historically been an early sign of severe political and economic problems. The new analysis suggests that the problems in the UK faces are deep-seated and raise serious questions about the path that this country is following. Well, fasten your seatbelts, folks, because it seems like a lot of people are going to be on the receiving end of a benefit clampdown from the government. And those people are parents. Now, admittedly, yes, parents could do a bit of work when their children are at school, but let's face it, some of these parents who don't actually have much childcare may think that the government looked at them while they're wrangling their little tornadoes and thought, you know what you need? More job hunting on top of your unpaid parenting. But to those parents, I'd say, don't worry. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, because these commitments will be tailored to meet each parent's unique circumstances. So if your child throws a tantrum in the grocery store because they didn't get the cereal with the most colourful box, you can just tell your work coach, sorry, I had a parent commitment. And to sweeten the deal even further for them, the government has generously increased the childcare support. Now parents can enjoy a grand sum of up to £951 a month for one child, or a jaw-dropping £1,630 for two or more. But of course, where there's a government decision, there are critics in the rings, aren't there? I mean, some folks have started a petition against this plan, branding it inhumane. They called it short-sighted and inconsiderate, saying it values parenting less while they're saving on state-funded childcare. But to be honest, if you're a parent and your child is in school, then surely you could actually be either taking part-time employment or looking for work, couldn't you? I mean, what's wrong with that? But the thing is, parents are now expected to meet with a job coach every month with no childcare provided. And to some people, it's like the government might be saying, here, let us help you find a job while you juggle a toddler on your lap. No, it's not impossible, just a challenge. The thing is, though, there are childminders about, aren't there? And even hopefully relatives might be able to look after your son or daughter for the half an hour or hour or so it may take to have the appointment. And the thing is, once these people get a job, it may actually be outside school and hours, and in which case they're more than likely going to need to have some childcare in place. So something like this might help them prepare for that. Although, as we all know, parents are actually superheroes in their own right, aren't they? They're already working around the clock with no holidays, dealing with everything from nappy disasters to teenage tantrums. So for some people, expecting them to go on a job hunt is like auditioning for The Apprentice. But what they're not thinking is, it might give them a well-deserved break from those nappy disasters and teenage tantrums, whilst they're earning money. And don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting parents to do a full-time job on top of looking after their children, but they could at least be working part-time where possible, or if there's childcare available, rather than of course relying on claiming money from the state. But then again, of course, let's face it, the government just seems to blow that at the moment on hotel rooms for certain people, don't they? Which, to be honest, I think is wrong and is another video entirely, isn't it? But anyway, the article says that as the petition has reached 10,000 signatures, the government is now required to provide a response. And those affected by the new requirement will see the updates on their expected work-related activity, such as searching and applying for jobs and updating CVs. And all the activities provided are meant to help a parent increase their chances of getting a job or increase their working hours. Benefit claimants are on track with a 6.7% increase in payments next April, in line with the September figure for inflation. Well, as we all know, Shamima Begum decided to take a little holiday to Syria in 2015, where she presumably mistook ISIS for, an exotic travel agency maybe, offering all-inclusive packages to the land of no return. And because of that, we quite rightly revoked her British citizenship, which is obviously the thing we do, if people just casually hop on the plane and join terrorists, who, let's face it, don't like us very much. Especially, of course, when she was in the camp in 2019, and I guess our government must have said, maybe having someone who, didn't mind strolling past a barrel full of heads and playing with guns isn't the best idea for our national security. The thing is, she's now got a team of lawyers and they're playing the victim card, of course. Apparently the Home Office failed to consider her as a potential trafficking victim. Let's face it, now who would have thought that joining ISIS, playing a potentially active role in a terror group, might actually make that happen? Hey Shamima. But the thing is, because her legal team say she was trafficked, it was unlawful to deprive her of her citizenship. And if anything, it's like a cinema catching someone sneaking into a film, or several, and then giving them a year's pass, so they can see as much as they like, isn't it? And what's more, these people are pointing fingers at the Metropolitan Police, Tower Hamlets Council, and her school for being potential culprits in her misadventures. It's like saying the real villains are here, and the ones who failed to stop her from joining the evil group. But honestly, can't they just take a moment to realise that she was in fact part of a terrorist organisation, and therefore she would probably be a massive risk to public safety? Who knows what contacts she still has, and which one of those potential contacts might enjoy a good old tea party back here in the UK. In which case this saga is trying to argue that we should invite Godzilla back to Tokyo because, hey, he might have been a victim of radiation exposure. It's absurd, ridiculous, and if you lose your citizenship, you should lose it for life, in my opinion, because there was bound to be a good enough reason why people lost it. And I think for Shamima Begum, there is a very good reason why she did lose it. But anyway, the article says that Sir James Eagle KC said in written submissions, the fact that someone is radicalised and may have been manipulated is not inconsistent with the assessment that they pose a national security risk. Miss Begum contends that national security should not be a trump card, but the public should not be exposed to risks to national security because of events and circumstances that have conspired to give rise to that risk. The hearing is expected to last 3 days, with a decision to follow at a later date. But it doesn't end there, because if this video is anything to go by, then who knows? We could probably all be paying her next.